Well, good morning. It's Grandpa Ricky. I woke up this morning thinking about my friends who came yesterday in pain and suffering. I'm pretending that they weren't in pain and suffering, but I could see they were. And we poured a little beer and just split one bottle of beer. And we sat sipping our beer, and they started talking. And I could see they were in pain, and I could see that their past hurts had come up, and they were angry at one another. And before they came, they had told me about the awful things that their partners had done to them. And I was reminded of being a school principal and listening to the children tell about what awful things their playmates had done to them, or their playmate had done to them. And they would say, well, I just pushed him. Or, she would say, well, I just did this, and then he did this, and he did this, and he did this, and she did this, and she did this. And often the stories were completely different. They accused each other of doing all kinds of things. And my job then and now is to not judge anybody. Everybody's trying their best. And I was thinking, how can I help? And I realized that everything that had happened to these people in their childhood had not prepared them. They didn't know how to listen. They didn't know how to pay attention. They were only focused on winning. You can't have a relationship if you're trying to win. Relationships are co-creating something, creating something the same, and trying to feel what the other person is feeling. And relationships, I think, are more about what we give to our friends and partners and things. And less about what we take, but we get so hungry and we get so out of energy. We think that we'll never get our own way and we'll never be happy. And everybody's trying to be happy until they realize that happiness is very fleeting, and so is sadness. And so we spent the next hour or so playing a game of trying to teach about this process of looking into the other person's left eye and of being a parrot inside and having the parrot just say what they're hearing, not thinking about it, not judging it, no adjectives, no this is good, this is bad, just I like it, I don't like it. And it was very, very hard because both of them didn't know how to do this. They didn't know just how to be present and listen and pay attention. And so we would start off, and we started off by coming up with safe words. So that, and practicing them, and so sort of being able to say stop. And so I got one of them. We flipped a coin, and one of them decided that she would go first. And I coached her on looking into the left eye, turning on her parrot. I coached him, and and then I coached her on talking in 4 little sentences or 4 information bites, and then having a rest and talking, paying attention. And we started off, and we had the first take like a movie director. I said, "Okay, let's try this." And it was very hard on her being able to just talk. And it was very hard on him being able to just listen. And he at first couldn't use the safe word. I forget what word he picked. Might have been the word fish. And he couldn't use it. And then at a certain point I said fish, and she stopped. And I asked her how it was talking, and she had a list of things she wanted to talk about, but it was impossible, she found, to be able to talk with this guy. And clearly she loves him and he loves her, but they don't know how to talk and they don't know how to listen. And after 7 or 8 tries, her voice was slower, kinder, her ideas were smaller, and she was able to relax a little bit into saying what was so for her. And he had trouble listening to her. He had trouble just having the parrot. He was always thinking. And you know, our parrots live in our hearts. And they don't have to think, but they do feel. And they got to the point where they were able to talk with one another. And to try to untangle her truth and his truth. And everything that happens, I look at it from one perspective, and my partner looks at it, same thing, from a totally other perspective. And often we're not able to think how the other person is feeling when we're telling them this, and we don't know how to look to check it out. And we don't know how to say, stop, I can't stand anymore, I'm too tense. I'm judging everything that comes, not in terms of I like it or I don't like it, but, you know, that's not right. That's not how I see it. And it's exhausting work learning this. Learning to just listen, not judge. And then after the person's talked, then being able to say, well, how do I feel about this? Did I like what she said? Didn't I like what she said? Is there a message for me? And neither one of them thought they did a very good job. But I think they did. You know, it was the first time. It's like riding a bicycle. You're wobbly when you're first learning how to do this stuff. But can we look at the other person and let them look away? And can we keep ourselves calm when we hear something that we're ashamed of or that we're feeling guilty about? We feel accused. And it's tough work not to judge somebody. It's the tough work to just sit there and listen, and then stop and rest and say, well, how do I feel about what I just heard? And when people tell me things, there are some things when they tell me, I panic. It's like I've been exposed. They've realized, they've seen some of my shadows, some of my parts that I want to keep hidden. And, I have a lot of parts of me that are critics. They think, oh, I should be this way. He should be looking like this, or he should be saying this. And then when those critics come in, and I think that's all there is. I think the critics are right. I think my critics are right, and they say, oh, you're old and you're this and you're that, or when this woman would say things like, she would say, when you get upset, you don't seem to know you're upset. That's what she said. And you get very grumpy and very angry. And when I say, gee, why, how come you're so angry? Then you blame me for why you're angry. But no, we are always in charge, and that's what has to happen, is we have to develop this fair witness inside that looks at what we're trying to do and looks at what the other person trying to do, and we're compassionate, and we say, well, this is the best shot we've got. And that, the very same thing can be very different. So I hope this video is some help. It's a little rambly, but there's no easy way to communicate when you haven't been communicated with as a kid. When people were saying, oh, you're this and you're that, and you're not listening, or you're talking too much. And then those parts, that helps create parts in me that believe that's true. So I'm going to put this on the YouTube channel, and I hope it helps. And I'm trying to figure out, how can I help people? And people taught me this stuff, and my life has been so much easier when I can remember to listen, to look closely, to drink the other person in, my partner or anybody I'm talking to. And to work on not seeing people a threat, not seeing anything anybody says to me as a threat, but just that's where they're coming from. And for me to remember that, yes, I love them, I like them, they're just like me. They have some parts that are really comfortable and effective, and they have other parts that are like batshit crazy. And can I just accept them where they are and not be too frightened by what they're saying about me or expecting me to be a certain way? So I hope this has helped, and I hope that you make your videos about things that help you. And I'm going to come back to this, but this is my best shot this morning. So thank you for listening, and please make videos or write poems or sing songs or talk to people, because we need one another, and we can't be ashamed of our suffering. Like everybody suffers, but we get so ashamed of it and defensive, and it doesn't work. So, thank you very much for watching.